Hi, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Game of Two House podcast. Hey Vijay, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. How have you been? It's
I
been a
have
long
been good.
man.
Finally, the sun is shining here in Netherlands, so those who live here would know the pain and appreciate a little bit of sunshine. But it's been good. I think football is at the peak in Premier League, the FA Cup, Champions League about to restart, the Europa Cup about to restart. Everything's kicking off in all directions. Couldn't be happier, and obviously, being an Arsenal fan, the smiles extra.
You must be on top of the world, right? I was just gonna say. I mean, it's the right moment. The sunshine is shining on your face, and you are glowing. Seeing your team perform so well. They're sitting on top of the Premier League, and it doesn't look like they're gonna sort of falter anytime soon. So we'll talk more about that a little later in this episode.
We are the half way mark, at least for most teams. I think I think all teams have reached the halfway mark, and some have crossed it by a game or two. So I thought maybe this is a good time to review where we are and look at what our initial predictions were for the top four, top five. I think
Yeah.
we did.
Although it's too early, but yeah,
Yeah, it's
we
too
can
early,
look at
but
it.
never more exciting to see where we are. And speaking about top of the league, let's start off with Arsenal. What do you make of Arsenal's season so far?
Amazing, man. I mean, I think the way they have played this season, they deserve to be at the top right now. Obviously, we all know, I'm not saying it in a negative way, but there's a whole second half of the season left to be played, right? Plus, I know that Arsenal is out of FA Cup, and while we are recording this, we've just finished the City versus Arsenal FA Cup game last night, and we know the result. They've got knocked out. So I think it gives them an even better chance to focus on the Premier League now. So they're out of the domestic, both the domestic cups, and yeah, they can focus on the Premier League. And I think they're playing in the Europa, right? I don't remember the European league what's happening like the Champions League and the Europa League. So I mean they are in those two competitions. So I think it's their at this point the way I look at it, it's their title to lose, man. I think they're playing really well. Arteta has done an amazing job. I think they've got some good signings also now. They've got Trossard in. Martinelli was always the guy playing on the left, right. So Trossard is a very good replacement for him. Doesn't need any introduction to the Premier League. Just moves from Brighton, and he's got a hat trick against Liverpool not too long back. So I mean, things are looking good for Arsenal. Yeah. What about you, man? You must be like,
Yeah,
you must be like
I'm optimistically
counting down days.
I'm
Yeah.
optimistically buzzing, and I think every week we just see, okay, what it is. Like I sometimes feel like Mikel Arteta or the team, like we're not. I'm not even looking at the fixtures that are there in March or April or May. I'm just looking like, okay, this is one game done. What's the next game for us? And somewhere like you were talking about the domestic cups, I don't know. As a fan, I would want us to go for the quadruple and do all of these things. But in reality, you know that you can't really have all of those, like the number of games that we have if you're in all four competitions versus the squad depth that Arsenal has at the moment. If you compare it to Man City, and if you even compare it to now Chelsea and Tottenham, for that matter, they've got amazing squad depth. Now, whether they perform or no is a different thing. But in Arsenal, we don't even have first team players. Forget replacements. Like we don't even have that big a squad. I think Arsenal squad right now is somewhere around 25, 26, whereas Chelsea is close to 37 or 38 people who are registered under the first team squad. So that itself shows you the depth of squad. So Chelsea, in effect, has three squads within their squad that they can play. Whereas
Hey, we have one squad is injured. Well,
one
you don't
squad is
forget about
injured. That's true. Same for Liverpool as well. If you see, almost one full squad of theirs, the main players have all been on injury at some point in time. So I feel maybe, and this is the point I'm trying to make, is that maybe Arteta in some way knows the importance of these cup and how important it's been to Arsenal. Arsenal's been a 14-time winner of the FA Cup, the most out of any other English team. but I think he knows that this is our one chance to compete for the title. I'm not saying we're winning it. I'm not saying that we can win it. I'm saying it's his one chance to compete for it, which gives us two things. One is it gives us more money so we can buy. It helps us attract more players in the next season. It gives us Champion League football. So it progresses us. So if you had to ask Arsenal players last year, what do you want to see in this year? They would have said qualify for Champions League, win one of the cups. But now the reality is that he's doing so well in the league. I don't think so. Carling Cup and FA Cup are something that we want to really conquer at this stage because we won the FA Cup in 2020.
Yeah.
We have that cup. Premier League is not something we won for the last 14 years or more, 15 years.
Oh,
So
yeah, more. Yeah.
so I think that would be his topmost goal. So if that means dropping out of Carling, dropping out of FA, and even not really focusing on Europa, I would have no complaints as long as he goes for the Premier League. So I'm happy where we are at this stage.
No, and you should be right, because yeah, like you mentioned, they are playing really well as a team. And what do you think is the extent of Partey's injury? I mean, I did not watch the game. I just saw the result because it was quite late here in India.
Yeah, they've not yet determined. So the rumors are there's going to have a scan today and understand like how long he's going to be injured for. Arsenal still have a couple of days in the transfer market to make those signings to strengthen that, and I think that's one of the key areas. And we'll talk about transfers in a bit, but that's one of the key areas that we needed to strengthen because we don't have a defensive midfielder. Be interesting who do we get? And if we get a player in that position, I would say we are on course to compete with Man City for that title. And then maybe we can even
Yeah,
quickly switch to Man City and see how their season has been. If I can start off, I feel Man City has done better this season than their even previous season in terms of title winning because we know that Man City has always had a slow start, and then when they
yeah,
come to mid Jan to mid April is where they go on a rampage. They don't just win matches, they defeat teams like convincingly, and we've seen that with Haaland having a dry spell and then coming back with a hat trick. He's already the highest goal scorer in the Premier League combined for the last 3 seasons. There's no one who's already, and it's just halfway through the point. So he's coming into form. We're seeing Grealish coming and playing a lot more games now. So that's added. Mahrez is in the form of his life. Rodri is performing crazy. They've got, Kevin De Bruyne again is been back into form after the World Cup. He's been contributing amazingly. So they are just starting to hit form and they're starting to hit some consistency because if you've seen team selection of Man City, they've not played the same team for more than 2 or 3 games. He's always been changing.
yeah. True.
And the advantage of that now is that he's got 11 players who can play, but he's got another 6, 7 players who have already played a lot of games this season and perform well who can come in. So there's instead of having a top 11, he's now has a top 16, and there is no drop in form in any particular position. So now is a crux time. But where at Arsenal, I think, have changed the game a bit and used it to their advantages. Normally, Arsenal would not capture those moments where Man City has slipped, where they've got a draw or lost. Arsenal that week would have lost or drawn. And this 5 points cushion that we have could play a big important role in giving us that mental comfort, saying that we've got this cushion, we know we're going to have a slip up, we know we're going to have a match like Man United match, which we can talk in a bit, where it's going to be difficult, but we have that cushion. But Man City is now going to be hunting us down for sure.
And that brings us to the topic of you will be playing Man City for the first time in the Premier League in a couple of weeks, right?
Yes.
I know it's not the immediate game, but for me, again, to add to what you said, that will be the defining moment. Like I know it's at I think it's at Emirates, right? I
Yeah,
think
it's
this
at
is also
Emirates on
a home
the
game.
14th or 15th of February.
Yeah, it's at Emirates. I mean, it's been tough to do anything against Arsenal at home. Newcastle managed to get a draw, and I think there was another team that got a draw. But yeah, I mean, if City can beat you there, then I think that'll have a. I mean, obviously the table will change, but then also, it'll impact the players mentally, right? Like then Arteta, it'll put him back to the drawing board. Like, what do I do? And then you have no what do you say, that no room for mistakes, right? Then that then the gap becomes very less. And you said, like, once they start beating these teams, then they don't stop, right, till they win the title. So
Yeah.
I think for me that will be the crucial game. But other than that, I think you covered everything about City. So exciting second half of the season awaits us, man.
Very true. And then a new entrant, I mean, in modern times, a new entrant, you can say, always been a great club. And the oil money kicking in, and so is the form. Newcastle, man, what do you have to say about them? The amazing season they're having.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant. You talk about oil money. Yeah, so I mean, the club got acquired. Yeah, we all know the story, but they haven't really spent so much money, man. I mean,
No.
who are the players who are playing for them? Trippier has been in the best of forms. I don't know the figures, but definitely not more than 25-30 million for Trippier, right? They
Yeah.
have Pope was playing in the Premier League last year. I think he was their keeper only last year. Uh, I don't remember which team he was.
Yeah.
So they don't have stars, man. We talk about, oil money, and okay, they got a new manager, they got a few uh new players, but there are no stars in their team, man, and that's the best thing, right? I mean, you have Wilson who is playing; he's a seasoned player. We all know. Almiron has stepped up. You have Joelinton, Bruno Guimaraes. He has been a good player for them. Although they have been on a gold rod for last few games, but there are no stars, man. It's just so nice to see a team without stars. Obviously, they have the money, but perform at the level they are, and they're third. I mean, who would have expected it? Who would have thought, right,
Do
that
you
they can
think
be this good?
they could pull up a Leicester on both Man City and Arsenal? Like sometimes when that battle is going on with these two clubs, these guys can just sneak in from somewhere. Do you think they have it in them? Because
Quite possible.
mind you, they are one of the strongest defensive teams in the Premier
Yeah,
League this season. They
correct.
have they are barely conceding any goals. Like you mentioned, Pope. I think he's been phenomenal. Even for people who have him in the FPL, great guy to have in the team. But they've been really like I think you said the right thing. You don't need stars. You just need the right profile of players, and their manager has made or worked wonders the way they are managing the games. What's your
Yeah.
prediction for them? Where do you think you see
I
them?
mean, uh, they should finish in the top four the way they are playing. I don't see who Liverpool and Chelsea are way behind. I mean, we will come to them again in some time. And Spurs and United, if they win one game, they lose one game. There's no consistency. So I think Newcastle will stay there. But you highlighted a very important thing. They are very good defensively, but in the last few games, they are struggling to score goals. You
Hmm.
know, so the question is, where do they get those goals from? So if they start scoring and winning, I mean, drawing games is fine, not conceding is fine, but you need to win games, right, to get those points.
True.
So I think if they can fix that problem, and if they start, they signed a striker, Isaac, right, sometime back. I think he's just back from injury. He scored in the cup game. I think they are in the semifinals of the Carling Cup also. So yeah, I think they should finish in the top four. That's my prediction.
Cool.
What about you?
Yeah, I think the way they're playing, the consistency that they're playing, and already the points that they've got, the goal difference that they are maintaining should help them in retaining that top four position. Because I do see Arsenal, Man City confirmed in the top four. The fight would be between Manchester United and Newcastle in when it comes to the third and fourth position. Tottenham, and I will be get to Tottenham in some time. I think is also lurking around that space, if I may say. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy the way Newcastle is placed at the moment. I think it brings in a lot of competition. Like I was just looking at the table right now. Newcastle sit third, so they've played 20 games and they have 39 points, the same as Manchester United. But because of their goal difference, Newcastle have 22 goal difference, United have 7. That's the reason they are on top. But United have not lost the last few games, right? Or did they lose a game? I'm not sure.
Manchester lost to Arsenal, right?
Yeah, they lost to Arsenal. Oh yeah,
They lost to Arsenal and then they drew against Palace. So that is
yeah.
what
Yeah,
kept
so they drew and
Newcastle.
lost. Yeah, so they were on a winning streak, and then suddenly they've hit that bump. So interesting. But what is more interesting to me is Tottenham, who has been so inconsistent. They've won 2 of the last 5 games. They've won, I think, 3 out of their last 11 games. Such an inconsistent season, and they sit fifth in the Premier League, whereas Liverpool and Chelsea are at ninth and 10th. This is, I don't know how is it happening. Uh,
I mean, neither do I. Neither do I. But
it's so
uh,
strange, right? Like the way they're sitting. And anyway, we'll come back to them. Let's move into our favorites, Manchester United, sitting in fourth place on 39 points, uh, just below Newcastle United. So, what do you think about their season? I have to be honest. I think they are in a good place within a very short period of time. And I think they are having a good season. They're having a season where finally they're putting some respect to that name, to that club that Manchester is. And Ten Hag, despite all the criticism he got at the start with the Ronaldo episode, with their whole recruitment piece, I think he's really starting to do well and show the difference what they can do.
yes, they did go on a winning streak, right? I think it was 9 games or 10 games, and Rashford was like sort of a big had a big role to play there, right? He scored in almost every game, and they won those games. And then they lost to Arsenal, and they drew against Crystal Palace, the game that they should have won. So uh, I think, yeah, you said it. They are in a good place. After Ronaldo left, Ten Hag has actually sort of got the group together, and it even when they play, I watch their games. Even when they're playing, it looks like they still have that old, what is that? Uh, uh, the flair, the energy, like especially the game against City at home. City scored first, but then they scored 2 back-to-back goals, and you could just feel the stadium buzzing, the players buzzing, and you knew that something is going to happen, and they ended up winning that game. So, yeah, but again, consistency is what wins you the Premier League, right? So they are in a good position. I don't think they can win the league, but they can definitely finish in the top 4.
Yeah, so some of the Manchester United fans were quite happy because they were in a 3-day title challenge race with us. They were on a big run, looking at it, saying, "We beat Crystal Palace, we go to Arsenal, we beat them, and we are almost at the top of the league. We're just 3 points away from the title." Lo and behold, drew to Man City,
I think
to Crystal Palace in the last minute, lost to Arsenal, and not forget about the top two. They are in fourth place below Newcastle, and obviously Tottenham and Brighton on their backs. Brighton, in fact,
yeah.
is also doing well. Just as a mention in terms of a club, and Fulham, who's a promoted club this year, are 7th place, above 2 other clubs, which we will talk about in a bit. But Tottenham, again, we touched upon it. I don't want to really take a lot of time on Tottenham, but having the most inconsistent season with, I feel, one of the most number of players. They signed 6 or 7 players in the summer. They've, I think, already signed a couple now, but really nobody would say that Conte is managing that club or that team. The way they play, it's really bad football. They're making Son and Kane two of the most hottest stars who were like gold. They're looking like crap. They're looking like a relegation team at the moment.
No, Kane is still he's putting out performances. I mean, he is sort of taking that team ahead, right? Yeah, Son, I have no idea what happened to him. Golden Boot winner last year, sudden deep in form. No idea what's going on with him. But uh, he's a quality player. I think they are a good team. Conte is a pretty good coach, so they'll be in and about that area. I think it'll all go down to how they play against United and the other teams, right? So they're playing City. Their next game is against City at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah,
So and they have beaten them in the past, right? So you
yeah.
never
This is
know.
going to
It's
be an
just
interesting
that
match.
game. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll be.
just sort of that result change your whole season around if they end up beating City. So you
Yeah.
never know. It's gonna
But
be a good
I
game.
think they also recently Tottenham played. Who did they play? And they lost horribly. It was in Manchester United or City.
No, Arsenal beat them, right?
No. Tottenham also played a game and they lost. I think they were leading 2-0 at halftime. I think it was City. They were leading 2-0
Oh,
at halftime and they
yeah,
lost
yeah,
4-2.
yeah. They lost 4-2. Yes. You're right. Yes. Oh, that was a midweek Premier League game. Right.
And I mean, that itself is like, how do you lose a 2-0 lead at halftime
Yeah.
and then you go and lose the game 4-2? I mean, I mean, it was horrible, a horrible stat to even look at. Uh,
Right. It was the same. It was the same week where Arsenal beat them at home 2-0.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess it is what it is. And then moving down, very down to the table, somewhere mid-table, we have two mid-table. First one, a team is Liverpool, who are sitting on 29 points. Chelsea also sitting on 29 points, but Liverpool have a game in hand over you guys. Let's cover Liverpool and then come to Chelsea. Liverpool are having a horrible season. The fact that they're sitting in ninth above you is a testament that they still have some quality there and that Klopp still has some clout in that management room. But I can't believe how they're still sitting above you guys with the season that they're having, the injuries that they're having. I've said this before, I think we've discussed this. I think they went on these 3-year run rampage of trying to win the Champions League, Premier League, and they've run out of
Trying to win,
gas.
though. They won it.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, they did win it. And they run out of gas. I think they run out of motivation, they run out of that desire, that will. And this is something that can happen when you achieve a
Of
lot
course.
of success in a very short period of time. You put so much energy and effort that you're physically and mentally drained by the end of it. This is my look at it. I don't think so anything else has changed about these players. I think it's the mentality. And the second thing is they need a refresh in the squad. A lot of these people now who brought in 6, 7 years ago are reaching. I mean, they've crossed their prime now. They're not a young side. They need to refresh the squad, and that's what Klopp's extended his contract to do. Is he's going to refresh the squad, put it back in the pathway where it's at the top four, and then probably leave out. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it can happen, man. They won the Premier League after obviously a long time, right? And they won the Champions League. Then they were in another final. I think the season after that they lost to Real Madrid. Real Madrid were like
Yeah,
too good that season. We all know that. So it can probably happen. It could be that it's in their head, or they don't have that focus they had a few years back, and Klopp is sort of struggling to motivate them again. And yeah, they're also having some aging players, right? Henderson in the midfield. He keeps playing Milner because Robertson or somebody is always injured. Alexander Arnold doesn't look the same, and they don't have Mane. I don't think they've got a player who can fill that hole or that role that Mane was having, and then the new striker Darwin, he seems to be missing it. He seems to be missing it. He looked promising in his first couple of games, but he just can't score, man. I mean, I've had him in my FPL team for a while, and he
Yeah.
just can't
Well,
score.
a lot of
Like
people say that about
sitters, dude.
your new striker signing.
Who is that?
Aubameyang. Aubameyang.
So are we done with Liverpool now? Now we're talking about Chelsea.
This is what happens when you get Arsenal retirement club into your team, man.
Oh man, I mean, see, let's talk about Chelsea. You know, we've been discussing this on our football group as well. That we've had a change of ownership, yeah, and you know the circumstances under which we've had it.
Yeah.
It's like you. So tomorrow, if you buy Arsenal, what will you do, right? You will want to run the club the way you want to, right? You might not like half the players. You might not like the coach. You know, you might have some ideas. You might have some different ideas in your head. And if you don't come from a football background, it's even worse. You know, so this guy comes in. First thing he does is fires our successful coach. Okay, maybe we didn't have a very good season, the previous season, but we still managed to qualify for Champions League. And it was decided in the last game. I remember, I think Tottenham lost or drew, and no, we drew, and Tottenham beat somebody, I think, who was in fifth or fourth position. So anyway, so we qualified for Champions League, and this guy comes and removes him out. And talking about Oba, I think he was a panic buy, and I think it was Tuchel who got him in. So, and now I think his Boli, the owner's plan is to get rid of all the players that Tuchel got, and he goes and hires a manager who has no okay, he did well with a small team, I mean, Brighton, don't mind me calling them a small team, but no experience of managing a team like Chelsea. So yeah, it's a tough phase, but I think it's our building phase, I would say, although I don't I don't like the position we are sitting in right now. That's not a club like us deserves to be. But we've got to be patient. We've got to deal with what's going on, and yeah, hopefully we'll get out of that hole sooner than later. So
Cool. Yeah, so I think I agree with you. A change of ownership will and does have an impact, and you can't ignore that. Um, but I mean, you are right there because the owner doesn't seem to know what he's exactly doing. I agree with you on Potter. I think it's maybe Potter is not the best option for Chelsea at this stage because Potter is the type of guy who you would have in a smaller club who's going to bring in those changes, bring in philosophy, change the football technique, and work kind of in building the club. Chelsea is almost like rebuilding the club in itself. There's the administrative side of it which they need to change. So, like you said, like a new owner, let's look at the corporate official side of it. When I'm a new owner, I want to change my CEO, CFO, all of those guys. So that needs to change. Then on the footballing side, he needs to have some sort of structure, which Arsenal did many years ago, and they have now a corporate structure to the footballing side of it. In Edu and Vinay, who are there in Arsenal. So Todd Bowley needs to get someone there, and he needs to get someone good without there are memes, jokes which are a reality that Todd Bowley is like if anyone approaches him, hey, buy Ronaldo, he's ready to buy, or buy this or buy that. It's just like a kid with a lot of money, people getting swayed left and right. So I think they need someone in that position who knows football. And Potter is not that strong character to go up to Todd Bowley and say like, no, this is not what we need to do. That's the reason he almost got rid of Tuchel, is because Tuchel would be the one who is opposing these things because he understands football. And if you see the recruitment at Chelsea, which we're going to talk in a bit in terms of transfers, Chelsea is recruiting good players, expensive players. But is that what Chelsea needs as a team in terms of positions? So there are some weird, different characters being brought into the team who don't really feel like they're a team. Like if you talk about Sterling and Aubameyang, Aubameyang has performed well in the wing for Arsenal. Also plays as a striker. Sterling is the same. You have two people, similar type of quality. Um, does it really have that impact? You have,
As well. Yeah.
sorry.
Sorry, but I said almost the same position as well.
Yeah. So that's like something. Then you've got so many fringe players who were good big names or mid names at least, and no one's performing. So it's a tough place to be. You'll have a lot of things to get rid of before you'll start buying. And that's where we can talk about the transfer window. I think there are already a few signings you all have made, which you all beat Arsenal to. And if I could maybe quickly go through who you all have already signed. Mikhailo Modric, you all signed from Shakhtar. Then Benoit Badiashile, I don't know how you pronounce him,
But, uh,
from Monaco, then Fofana, David Fofana, Andre Santos, João Felix, and Noni from PSV. So you've already in the January transfer window made six, and out of the six, you've paid 89 million pounds from Modric. And then Joao Felix's loan also is super expensive for 5 months, the amount you're paying. And if you look at who's exited, no one. There's just one kid from your academy who's gone out on loan. So it's you invested quite a lot. Are you all looking to invest more in this transfer window? I hear rumors of another battle between Chelsea and Arsenal on Casado.
I see. I'll tell you to be honest. I haven't been following Chelsea transfers like with a lot of interest right now. So because see, uh, we've had a lot of injuries also. When you got to take that also into consideration. One of our most like two of our most important players and key to our system, the way we play, Chilwell and Reece James, they have been out for a while now. I mean, James even both of them even missed the World Cup. The sad thing. So that is something that we are missing that service, which was very successful under Tuchel. To play in that system. Plus, our defense, we lost Rudiger last year, and the only person who has started every game this season for us is Thiago Silva. He's 38 years old. So there has been a lot of so Potter has not been able to figure out his best 11. Plus, we don't have in the midfield. That has been a big impact for us. He is also out through injury. He missed the World Cup as well. So there are a lot of things that I mean, yeah, I know we are spending a lot of money and we're buying a lot of players. Nobody's going out, but then we have a lot of people who are injured as well. So, like I mentioned some time back, I think the eventual plan of Todd Bowley is to get rid of all the players that Tuchel got in. So it's your Havertz will go out, yeah, Oba will go out, Sterling might go out, Pulisic might go out. So you never know about Mount also, academy player. So let's see a lot of changes happening. Although I have to say that Felix and Mikel Modic, they look pretty good on their debut, man. I know Felix unfortunately got a red card. Obviously, that's a red card any day, that tackle. But I'm excited to see them play when they come back. So
Yeah, I think
let's see
Mudryk
how that.
looks exceptionally
Yeah.
well. I think in that one game, the way he was driving, and that too, he just came off the bench. It's not like he started the game. So I'm excited to see him.
Yeah.
You'll paid quite a lot of money for him, but you'll got an 8.5 year deal. So I think in some way it evens out, if you see the price tag. But we've seen this happen to a lot of young players when they have this big heavy price tag. It puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on them. He's still new to the Premier League. He's a young kid, so it's a long way to and watch to see if it comes out. People are saying that he could be a future Ballon d'Or winner. What to see who lost out on it? Did Arsenal lose out, or did Chelsea lose in eventually? Talking about Arsenal, we signed Trossard and Jakub Kivor for defense, so not replacing, or a backup to Gabriel Malagas in defense, and Trossard for Martinelli. I think two good signings. So if I look at the Arsenal squad in the keeper department, we've got Ramsdale and Turner, both I think are great keepers. You look at right back, Ben White has performed really well. We've got Tomiyasu, who's even better according to me as a backup. On the left, we got Sinchenko and Tierney, great players. In the mid, we've got Saliba, Gabriel. We have Trusty, who's on loan, coming back next year. So we've got cover there. We've signed Yakub now. So there's Rob Holding is there. I don't rate him as a great player, but we do have players in that position. Ben White is also a centre back, so can play in that position. And moving up the field, we've got Partey, who's key and essential to this whole thing. We don't have a good replacement for him because Lokonga is not really a defensive midfielder, more of a attacking. And he could probably be a good replacement for Shaka, who is really performing well this season. I think the mid and up front, I think we are quite sorted. I got Trossard and Martinelli. We've got Nelson and Saka. Then we've got Odegaard, Vieira, and Smith Rowe. And we've got Nketiah and Jesus up front. So I think we've got a good team. Where we are missing or where we need to add a value is that Thomas Partey position. And I think that can help us challenge for the title. And we do get that in the January window, I would be quite excited.
Yeah, I think that the defensive midfield position is, I mean, the more we watch football and the more we understand, the more you realize, how important this players were for Chelsea. Like I remember John Obi Mikel, like growing up and watching this like in the earlier years, like I didn't like we didn't really have that much understanding, right? Even Kante, like when Leicester won the Premier League, Danny Drinkwater and Kante. Then when you then watch the videos and then when you watch some clips and games, then you realize how crucial. And then obviously when Kante came to Chelsea, I started watching so much of him. You realize how important those positions are. So Partey, I think, will be a big miss if it's a big injury. If not, then yeah, I mean, we still need a backup for him.
Yeah, a couple of days in the transfer window open. Important to see what happens, and we'll keep all of you updated. And I'll maybe share our reactions to the Jan transfer window in a separate video. But moving on to next week, because this week it's FA Cup, so there are no Premier League matches this week as we are recording. So the next matches are played around the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of Feb. I think the first match is Chelsea Fulham because you guys play on Friday at home. Fulham have, like we seen, done well. They're above you at the moment, but a win at home could take you to that sixth place or 6th, 7th position in the league. What are your predictions for the match?
I don't know. I'm I'm scared to predict any Chelsea game this season. I thought when we visited them just a couple of weeks back, we'll win that game. We scored the first goal also and ended up losing 2-1, I think. So yeah, I am hoping for a good performance. I hope Mikel Murdy gets a full start and to see some of the other players also play. So hopefully we get a good result, man. We need a win. It's a local derby actually.
Yeah.
Fulham is just like 5-10 minutes away from Chelsea. So it's gonna be interesting. They are not a bad team anymore. So it's gonna be interesting. I hope we can win maybe 2-1. Yeah.
We're going with 2-1 and hoping for Mudryk to start. I think I'd go for a Chelsea win and probably even go for a 1-0 win. I think it's going to be a tight game. I don't know how you guys
I have no faith in Chelsea keeping a clean sheet, but if you say so, then
I don't know how
I'll
you
start
guys are
taking
in terms of scoring goals. That's my thing. So defensively probably bad, but maybe in terms of scoring goals, better. I don't know. I think you guys have scored equal to the number of goals you all have conceded. So interesting. And
Man, Haaland has more goals than Chelsea this season.
it's like
Like we have not even scored 25 goals in the Premier League. Have we? Like you might have the table open in front of you.
yeah,
Have we? How many?
Y'all have scored 22 and conceded 21.
See, Haaland has more goals than Chelsea. Come on.
And Fulham have scored 32 and conceded 30 goals. So, in terms of your defensive records and scoring, so Fulham still has a better chance in terms of scoring goals than you. So maybe I'll revise mine and go for probably agree with you on a 2-1 win to Chelsea though.
2-1. Okay. As long as you agree that
Yeah.
we'll win. Good.
And then
You go to Everton.
yeah, we are going to Everton, which is interesting because they could be having a new manager, maybe Son Dyche. That's the rumor that's going around. They are
Hmm.
right now in 19th place. They are having a horrible season. The fans are revolting. There's threats to the board. But even though we kind of lost to Man City in the FA, I think Arsenal should go out and win it quite comfortably. We have a bit of a break between our last match and the Everton match, so I think we would be. I mean, you need some time to get over a loss sometimes because it's going to have affected the players. But I think they'll be waiting to come back and prove a point at Everton and get that win because. As we've discussed, every match is important right now for Arsenal. So I would go for a 2-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah, I think you're underestimating your team, man. I think they'll trash Everton 3-0, 4-0 maybe. I mean, I don't see Everton it's going to take them a while to get out of that bottom three. And yeah, it just, I mean, when you watch the games, you see the players, they're making silly mistakes. I mean, they're no pundits, but we see the analysis
Yeah.
post game, and the goals they're considering very silly, very uh, simple defensive errors. So it just doesn't seem like the players are in that zone. So yeah, and Arsenal is flying. So I think, yeah, I'll go for a 3-0.
Perfect. I want to cover one more match before we come to, I think, the big match of that game week, match day 22. Manchester United host Crystal Palace. So it's a reverse picture from the last game that they lost to them at Palace's home ground.
They drew, they
Uh,
drew, they drew.
yeah, and United obviously at home have been really in great form. But given their recent losses and the maybe I don't know a bit of a shake up in their team, what's your prediction there?
Uh, Home game, I think they should win, although Palace have been really good, solid at the back. And Vieira has been doing a good job, right, at them, at Palace. So I don't see United losing that. They should be winning that. Maybe, yeah, 2-0. Go for a 2-0.
2-0. Yeah, I think I would go for a 2-1 here because I do feel Crystal Palace have always that threat of scoring a goal. I'm a big fan of Zaha. I think he is someone who is quite capable of doing some damage there. And then moving to Tottenham hosting Man City, it's always been an interesting match, and you've highlighted this in our previous videos. So anyone who has not watched, check this out on our channel. And Tottenham have always had Man City's number kind of a thing. They've always managed to upset them, even in a season where Man City has gone on to win the league with 100 points and 90 points, 99 points. Tottenham somehow have managed to perform, especially in this picture where they're playing at home. I would go on to say that, irrespective of Tottenham's season this far that they've been, I think it's going to be an interesting match for me because Pep versus Conte, Tottenham home ground. I would go for a draw match, surprisingly, for a 2-2 draw.
Oh no, I think City is going to win, man. Tottenham, I mean, they almost, we thought they almost beat them, and they were 2-0 at halftime at the Etihad. But City being City, Pep will come up with some play, man. And Tottenham, like you said, very inconsistent this season. Surprised that they are still at fifth, but yeah, I think City will win this one. There might be a few goals from Tottenham, but yeah, I think City should win this. I'll go for a 3-1.
All right. Okay. Interesting. And then let's move into something even more interesting, something that we've wanted to do together for a long time, and we've never got the opportunity to do it. And for all our viewers, whoever is going to be watching this, Let us know what you think about it. It's a new segment or a feature that we want to do. Surprisingly,
Yay!
we were both excited about it, and we're going to look at football memes every week and have a bit of a laugh about it and see what the worlds of memes are doing. So, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it, man. And our viewers, if you have any memes to share and you think we should share those also, if you have missed those, please share them in the comments below, and we'll definitely put them in our next episode.
All
Let's
right.
go for it.
All right, here we go. The first meme. Man United fans thinking they'll end their trophy drought.
Oh God, this cracked me up, dude.
Oh my god. Well, by the way, I'm a massive Undertaker fan, and just seeing this makes it makes so much
Come
sense.
on, we've grown up watching Undertaker, man. Come on. Oh, God.
Look at this guy, he's so excited.
Like a typical Man United fan.
I know, it's like 3 days, and we're gonna win this. Oh, this is exciting. So,
And you spoke about this, right? You mentioned a 3-day title race. Oh, God.
let's go to the next one. What do you have next?
Oh,
Oh my
God.
god.
First of all, it was a sad game. They called it the El Shittico or something, and no, and then Darwin Nunes, he can't score, and I can't spell, dude.
Oh my god. Man, this guy, whoever screenshotted Nunes. Man. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah, it just feels like he can't get a break at all. All right, next one. A little of self humor. Man.
We literally came like that, huh?
Yeah, obviously, because in the night it was Arsenal have agreed personal terms with Mudryk. We were about to sign him, and then boom!
Oh God, perfect depiction.
That is hilarious. But the last, but not the
Please,
least, the best
yeah.
meme I've saved for my always true United fans. I think they've signed one of the best strikers in the world in Anthony, moved from Ajax, and let's see how he performs.
Dude, give this guy a medal, dude. Whoever made this meme, this is so true.
This guy can't beat anyone, man. He can't even forget beat anyone. He can't even
Are
get.
you sure it's a meme or that is Anthony himself?
That's Anthony practicing. That's at the training ground. They stopped giving him the ball only. They're like, you practice with your legs. As it is, you do nothing with the ball. Might as well do this only.
Seriously, man. Shit.
Yeah, that let us know what you think of those memes. And like Vijay said, if you have any more memes, share them with us, and we'll make sure that we share them with everyone. But any final thoughts from you, Vijay?
No, I mean, I've just we missed recording for a while, right? We missed being on the podcast, and
Yeah,
it's good to talk about football again.
yeah.
We've had World Cup, we've had some great Premier League football, and as always, I'm excited for every game, be it domestic or Premier League or Champions League. Just excited to watch football, and let's see what happens.
True,
Interesting season.
and just to add to what you said, like I feel football is become so much exciting now. Every game you can watch any game. You can just pick up any game in the Premier League, and it's fun. It's exciting. The football is great. The energy is great, and it has high consequences. You look at the top 10; they're all struggling to get into the top four, top five, and anyone can truly get into it. If you look at the points gap between Chelsea and fifth place Tottenham, there's not a lot
Yeah.
so anyone can move there, and you've got in reality around 5 or 6 teams competing for the third, fourth spot. And you
Correct.
look at the bottom of the league, it's 7 teams who are struggling with the relegation. I think this has
Yes.
been the closest competition in terms of the bottom and the top half of this. So it's an exciting season to follow, and we'll make sure that we bring you all those updates along with some of these funny meme contents. But for this week, that's all. Thank you all for watching. Make sure that you share this video, like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Put on the bell notification because we are irregular, so at least whenever our video comes out, you make sure that you subscribe to it. But that's it from me and Vijay. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
What? What? What?
What?
What?
What?
What?
What?
What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What?
Stop.